Welcome again to The Doctor Is In. I'm Jim Callow, and our guest today is Jena Doemel, who is a clinical dietitian at Bay Area Medical Center. Jena has her bachelor's in nutrition and is a registered certified dietitian. She also has her certificate of adult weight management and has been practicing in the nutritional field for 13 years. Jena began her career at BAMC in 2014 and led several employee-based nutritional education sessions and assisted with healthy weight programs and nutrition education and menus for patients. So we're going to talk about healthy eating and losing weight, and boy, I got to listen to your advice here. We're going the wrong direction so far this year. Anyway, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about some of the specific things that Bay Area Medical Center does to help encourage healthy eating.
Sure. There's a lot of things that Bay Area does to encourage healthy eating. A lot of it is information that we provide, but talk about some of the specific products, things that we sell from our cafeteria. It's important, I think, not just to talk the talk, but to also walk the walk. So one of the things that we do is offer services to meet with a registered dietitian for our patients who are in the hospital, in the clinic setting, and then for the general public as well. As long as they have a referral from their doctor, they can meet with a registered dietitian. Our registered dietitians also attend local health fairs for different organizations. Maybe they want to encourage employee wellness and ask for a dietitian to come and talk on something with nutrition, or organizations that have meetings will ask for a dietitian to come and again talk about different topics with nutrition. So that's available as well. And then I had mentioned just the different products that we offer for sale in our cafeteria that are healthy options as well. So we have good variety between the hot bar, the hot foods that we serve. There's always at least several different vegetables that we have available. We have a salad bar that's loaded with fresh veggies, lean proteins, healthy fats, things like walnuts, sunflower seeds, olive oil vinaigrettes. We have fresh cut fruit and low-fat yogurt, so if people want to make their own yogurt parfaits, they can do that. We have oatmeal available every day with fun toppings, things like nuts and fruits and things that keep it healthy too, but make it taste good as well. And make your own sandwich bars, so we offer whole grain breads, lean meats, low-fat cheeses, and again veggies that a person can load up on to really increase their nutritional value. Try to get those 5 servings of fruits and vegetables in every day. And then all of the options that we sell in our cafeteria are trans fat free, so they don't have that type of fat in there that is not good for our heart. And cafeteria is not only open to just patients and employees and visitors, it's open to the public as well. So if you're looking for nutritious, low-cost meal options, stop on by. And then one last thing, we have a healthy beverage program where we have fruit-infused water, so it changes out every day, so it could be apples, pineapple, blueberries, mint, to kind of help give that water a hint of flavor, and that really has encouraged our employees and guests to drink more water. So sometimes people don't just like to drink plain water, but it's a good way to get some better hydration in and stay away from those sugary sweetened beverages, which is actually another thing that we have in our cafeteria is a healthy beverage program where we actually have all of our beverages labeled as green, yellow, or red options. So those green options are going to be the healthier choices, things that are low fat, low calorie, low sugar. The yellow options being things that might have moderate amounts of those, so things to have in moderation. And then the red labels are those things that are going to be higher fat, higher calorie, high sugar, so those things that we should just have once in a while. And then also one other thing that we do too is provide room service meal delivery to our hospital patients. And studies have shown that the more patients are given choice of when they can eat and what they eat, they actually have better food and nutrient intake increases, so that promotes their overall wellness as well and just kind of helps during their whole treatment process to get them home and on the road to recovery.
All right, you made me hungry already, that's for sure.
Good.
Okay. All right, let's talk about some of the ways that you customize menus for the patients that you're serving at the hospital.
Sure, yeah, I'm glad that you used that word customized too, because that's really what we do as a registered dietitian. Healthy eating is not one size fits all. So when we meet with somebody one-on-one, we can really customize a healthy eating plan to that individual's specific needs. So whether it's, dietary restrictions like low sodium or carbohydrate controlled diet, if they have allergy restrictions, maybe they're looking for information on healthy eating on a budget, or they have varied schedules. So I'm not going to tell somebody that they need to eat at 8, noon, and 5 p.m. if they work a night shift. So we have to be flexible and work towards what is going to work for that individual. So that's really what we do to customize. And so if a person wants to meet with a registered dietitian, like the things that I had mentioned before with different dietary restrictions, but we also meet with people who are wanting to lose weight, to gain weight. Sometimes people need to have texture modifications so they can chew and swallow more safely. So all of those things are things that we take into consideration when we're customizing that meal plan for people.
All right, Jena Doemel is a clinical dietitian at Bay Area Medical Center and our guest today on The Doctor Is In. So let's talk about, for the people out there, how can they use the right cooking methods in order to help control weight?
Sure. So yeah, cooking methods do make a difference in how we can make things be lower calorie, lower fat to help maintain weight. So when cooking, it's recommended to use things like vegetable-based oils. So examples would be things like canola oil, olive oil, trying to stay away from using things like butter, shortening, lard, if anybody still uses that in their cooking. But good ways of just preparation methods, sauteing, maybe using things like some wine or some low sodium broth would be a way to get away from using any of those higher fat oils. When a person is cooking meat, you want to remove as much fat as visible as possible so that it doesn't kind of seep in during the cooking process. And skin, so things like poultry, chicken, or turkey, remove the skin to get rid of a lot of the fat and the calories. A lot of people, give me that look like, you're telling me I can't eat my, chicken thighs or chicken wings with the skin on them. And, once in a while those things are okay. But if you have those things on a regular basis, best to try to take the skin off of those. Other cooking methods like boiling, steaming, roasting, grilling, or baking instead of frying also helps to cut down on intake of fat and calories. You could also use non-stick cooking sprays, and a lot of those are based off of canola oil and olive oil, so again, some of those heart healthier oils, or just using a non-stick pan so that you don't have to use any of those higher fat oils. One other thing that cooking methods can do too is to really increase the flavor of foods. So, when I have somebody tell me that, well, I hate broccoli, I hate cauliflower, I'm not going to eat that. And I say, well, how do you prepare it? Well, I boil it or I eat it raw. So, it doesn't have as much flavor, say, as doing something like roasting in the oven, drizzling a little bit of olive oil over the top, maybe adding some dried herbs like oregano or rosemary. That roasting is going to give those foods a whole different flavor profile. So be open to trying things in new ways to add some flavor and make things taste good.
All right, one good way to try to control the weight, I know, is to try to eat smaller portions. That's sometimes difficult for people. I have this clean your plate syndrome. I was taught that early, but what are some tips for eating smaller portions?
Yep, that's a very good question, and probably one that I get asked just about every single day. Like you said, I think a lot of us were raised that we needed to clean our plate before we left the table, but we want to resign from the Clean Plate Club. It's okay to not eat everything on your plate, and I think a lot of us have seen the infographics that show how portions have increased over the last 30 years. So we're aware that portions are increasing. There's different documentaries out there too that are really good for just showing how much portions have grown. But of course, as we know, the more we eat, the more calories we're taking in, and potentially the more weight that we're gaining. So how do we do that? How do we decrease portion sizes? There's a lot of talk lately about mindfulness, which also applies to healthy eating. So think about what you're doing. Stay in the now. So limit distractions. Don't eat in front of the TV or in front of the computer or screens. Just kind of stay in the moment, focus on what you're doing. Eat more meals at home instead of at restaurants. Restaurants are notorious for having larger portions, and of course you want to try to stay away from those that offer combos or supersized options, and it might be more economical. You're getting kind of more bang for your buck, but really, is it better for our heart, our bodies? Probably not. So things that you can do for restaurants to help to decrease portion sizes is maybe split a meal with somebody. I like to just portion my food in half right away if it is particularly a big portion, and then ask for a to-go box right away. You can put that half of your food in the box. That way it's out of sight, out of mind. You're not tempted to kind of sit and keep picking at it or eating when you know that you're not actually hungry. When you're buying foods at the grocery stores or when you're cooking, check the nutrition facts label. At the very top, it will list the serving size for that food. So if it's half a cup, if it's 1 cup, if it's something like crackers, is it 7 crackers? Count out your servings. So again, that's all going to help with that mindfulness. So you're not just sitting in front of the TV snacking with that bag of potato chips, and before you know it, the whole bag is gone. So definitely portion out your food as much as possible. At home, you can also use things like smaller plates, smaller bowls, and glasses, because obviously you can fit less on or in those kinds of things, so that is going to help decrease portion sizes. Also with eating at home, instead of putting the pots of food right on the table, portion your food out onto the plate and leave the pots, the pans on the stove, on the counter, so it makes you think a little bit more if you actually want to get up and get that second helping of food. And lastly, eat slowly. It takes our body at least 20 minutes to realize that we're feeling full. So if we're scarfing our food down really quickly, that's when we can, sit back and say, oh my gosh, why did I eat so much? Well, we didn't give our body enough time to realize that we were feeling full. So whatever you need to do to slow down, whether it's have a conversation with somebody, put the fork down in between bites, take a drink of water in between bites, just really slow down, listen to your body, listen for those cues to tell you that you are full.
All right, a lot of good tips there. And let's talk, you mentioned before about, maybe making things taste a little better, some of the healthier foods to taste better. So let's talk a little bit about alternative seasonings and flavorings that you can use to eat the right foods.
Eat the right foods, sure, yeah. And so often I hear if it tastes good, it's not good for us, and I don't believe that. So I think that's one of my jobs as a registered dietitian, to convince people that you can eat healthy, whether that means low carbohydrate, lower sodium, lower fat and calories, and still have food taste good. So again, like I had mentioned before, methods of cooking, so doing things like roasting or grilling, are really going to bring out a lot of natural flavors on their own. Otherwise, things that you want to look for, low sodium or reduced sodium seasonings, that's going to help reduce fluid retention. So sometimes that bloat just doesn't feel good or doesn't look good on us, so try to decrease salt. Seasonings like lemon juice, any kind of citrus, orange or lime, can add a lot of flavor, and there's a lot of flavored vinegars out there too that work really well on veggies, on fish, on chicken, and you can also use those things to make salad dressing. So instead of using bottled salad dressing, combine that citrus or flavored vinegar combined with something like olive oil. You've made a low-calorie, healthy fat type of salad dressing. Use dried herbs, fresh herbs. There's definitely a different flavor profile between the fresh and the dry, so experiment with those different kinds of seasonings. If you're baking, you can usually substitute half of the fat in the recipe, so if it calls for oil, you can replace half of that with something like applesauce or another kind of fruit puree. If you're making a cream sauce, like an Alfredo or something like that, instead of using heavy cream or whole milk, you can substitute that with skim evaporated fat-free milk, and the cooking process will help thicken that up. So those are some things that will help to keep your waistline a little bit more in check, but still have that rich kind of taste and flavor that we're looking for.
All right, a lot of good ideas there. All right, let's continue on, and especially, it seems this time of the year, everybody's coming across methods of weight loss. There's a lot of fads out there. Some work for a while, some work don't work, I guess. What advice do you have for people who are looking at some of these different types of weight loss programs?
Sure, yeah, and there definitely are a lot of them out there right now, and I think, just try to do your research on them. There's, so much information on the internet available right now, so again, do your research. And that's another thing that registered dietitians can help with too, is how you can implement a program, a diet that is going to work for you. So, especially for people who have different health issues, multiple health issues, if you're taking multiple medications, or if you're a woman who's pregnant or breastfeeding, those are some of kind of the red flags to watch out for. Or, ask yourself, is this the right program for me to follow? So just do your research, try to get as much information as you can.
Okay, and it kind of seems that the ones that take the weight off the fastest are the ones that tend not to work in the long term.
Right, yeah. So a diet, should be something that you can really stick with. So a good question to ask yourself is, can I follow this the rest of my life? If the answer is no, that, well, maybe I can give it a week or two, then maybe it's not the right program for you to follow. Some of the diets that are really popular right now, low carbohydrate, high protein, high fat diets, ketogenic diets are pretty popular, or cleanses and detoxes is another one that we get asked a lot of questions about as dietitians. And so again, if you can't really follow that, the rest of your life might not be the best program if it's something that you're really looking to stick with, and not just drop a quick 5-10 pounds, but really making that healthy lifestyle change.
All right, Jena Doemel, clinical dietitian at Bay Area Medical Center, is our guest today on The Doctor Is In. And we're asking all of our guests for the next few months, I think, just what new and wonderful things is that new hospital going to do for your department?
Sure, yeah. In our department, we actually have already started to implement changes, because we felt that if it's something that's going to positively impact our patients, our customers, why wait for the new hospital to be built when it's something that we can start doing right now? So one of the things that we implemented in September is that room service style of meal delivery. So that means improved meal satisfactions, fresher, better quality food, since it's not made ahead and held, and that creates a more positive experience for our patients. And like I had mentioned earlier, when people have that choice of what they want to eat, when they want to eat, how they want to order it, it increases their overall intake, which increases wellness. So patients can call into our call center and speak with one of our diet clerks to order their meals. We also offer patients the ability to have a diet clerk actually come up and visit them at the bedside right in their room to order their meal if they feel more comfortable with that than calling down on the telephone. And we use a computerized program for monitoring nutrients of what people are receiving at each of their meals, which is really helpful for people who are on diets, let's say like a renal diet for kidney health, or they're on a carbohydrate controlled diet, so we can see exactly what nutrients they're taking in, maybe what they're falling short of, what they're getting a little bit too much on, and then we can instruct people and educate them on how to follow that diet so that it meets their wellness needs. And we are pretty quick and efficient in delivering meals, so the room service delivery, it's just like a person who is staying in a hotel. When they order room service, they can call down and their meal is going to be delivered within 45 minutes. So it's not that they're ordering their meal 3 or 4 hours ahead of time and maybe not even wanting what they ordered for that meal once they actually get their food. So it's a very effective, efficient process. Our dietary staff deliver all of the meals, so that creates another interaction for the patients too, and gives us a time to assess the patient's satisfaction with their meals. They can ask questions about the meal ordering process, the diet itself, and if they have further questions, they can ask them to meet with a dietitian. One of the best compliments that I have heard numerous times from our patients is that the food that we serve is not typical hospital foods. It's definitely exceeded their expectations, and that's always wonderful to hear.
You're going to lose your reputation for hospital food.
That's okay. We can start a new reputation for hospital food.
So, I know when the new hospital comes, one thing is that the cafeteria is going to be a lot more conveniently located.
Yes, it is going to be pretty much right off of the main entrance on the main level. So super easily accessible for our patients who are walking in, for guests, visitors, and again, it's open to the public as well.
Okay, so we'll look forward to that come August. And in the meantime, you don't have to be a patient to check it out even at the current hospital.
Right, yes, yeah.
All right. Well, we've certainly enjoyed our discussion this afternoon. You made me hungry. And maybe I'll just have to make sure I don't eat too much.
That's right, yep, control those portions.
All right, well, we certainly want to thank you for being with us.
Sure.
And if people have some questions about nutrition, they can give you a call?
They can give us a call, yep. They can call the main hospital number, which is 715-735-4200, and ask to be transferred to a dietitian or dietary services. We also have our website, which is BAMC.org. And I also want to just put in one more plug too with the new hospital opening that you had mentioned. We have some open houses coming up that are going to be open to the public, and those are going to be on July 20th and the 21st. So you'll hear more information about that as it gets closer too, but we definitely encourage people to come and check out the new hospital.
You're going to have some samples?
Oh, of course we will have, yep, food samples, yep.
Oh, excellent. Okay, it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, we want to thank you for being with us. Jena Doemel, clinical dietitian at Bay Area Medical Center, and has given us hopefully a lot of good advice about eating healthy and trying to lose some of those pounds we might have gathered here over the holiday season. Okay, good being with us, and thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, and that's our Doctors In for today, brought to you by Bay Area Medical Center. I'm Jim Cowell. Have a good afternoon.